Well, it's great to have your company again, Aries. It's October 2016. I'm Dadhichi from astrology.com.au, and this month really starts off with a bang. And I say that because the new moon takes place in your marital sector, that very critical 7th house of the horoscope, which has much to say about your relationships, the way you deal with the world generally. And on top of that, you've got the really lovely, expansive and buoyant Jupiter in very close proximity. These three planets, the Sun, the Moon and Jupiter, are particularly favourable to you. And the new moon naturally means the start of new opportunities, turning over a new leaf, change in direction for some of you. But if you're currently in a relationship, this sets the tenor for a very lovely fresh start to the communications, to the way you negotiate your problems. And this is generally a very favourable omen for the area of relationships. Business partnerships will also flourish under this particular combination. So all round, these three planets not only influence these departments of your life, but because they're directly opposite your sun sign, they really empower you, make you feel good, give you a strong sense of self, a generous disposition. But be careful of that. We do see up there in the upper part of the horoscope your ruling planet Mars in what we call a right angle to the new moon and Jupiter position in the 7th house. So a lot of drive and energy this month for your work. That's just entered into this critical career sector. In the next few weeks you're going to see that combined with Pluto, which is the slow moving transit that's been there for some time. And the only danger here is that you're probably a little overconfident. The Mars-Jupiter square can indicate a complete ignoring of your limitations. Now that's fine to some extent, but especially in your workplace, you have to be careful that you don't assume you know more than you do, because that can cause some difficulties. We see that on the 6th of October, leading up to that date, but the 6th of October is what we call the perfection of that square aspect. And so it's in the first week of the month that we see these sorts of problems occurring. Nevertheless, the 15th, we see your ruling planet in a most favourable aspect to the North Node. Again, that's covering your workplace activities. Mercury is in this specific area of the horoscope, the 6th house, and the North Node functions very well there, giving you the ability to overcome your competitors and to do well in any sort of competitive sports. But this to me seems to be more to do with your practical affairs, your work, your profession, your co-workers. And the trine aspect, this 120-degree aspect, is really quite a good one for fostering good relationships with those you work with, getting your allies on side, and making sure that you shore up the support that you need for the latter part of the month. There could be some power struggles in your work this month. That's shown when Mars, which is fairly quick moving, moves into the conjunction on the 19th. That's pretty significant. Yet Mars and Pluto are very dominant, very powerful planets in their own right, and they give you the willpower and the drive to succeed. As I said earlier, you need to be careful that you don't overestimate your capabilities, and you don't retaliate when you find others are correcting you on your mistakes, which is sometimes a character flaw of those born under Aries. Yeah, we all have our character flaws. And then we see on the, well, I shouldn't jump too quickly to the right angle of Mars to Uranus. That takes place on the 29th. But before that, we see on the 16th, which is just before that conjunction of Mars and Pluto, the lovely full moon occurring in your sun sign. So this is a really emotional planet. It brings to the fore some of your family circumstances, your domestic elements, and generally your inner experience, your emotional life, should be fully functional at this time. Be careful though, because as we see there, we've talked about the right angle from the new moon and Jupiter to Mars and Pluto in your career house. Pardon me. The full moon is also going to create some tension from your family with respect to the happenings in your profession. And that's understandable because you've got so much drive and push and energy and ambition, as evidenced by that conjunction of Mars and Pluto on the 19th, that may overshadow some of the things you're trying to achieve in your personal life. So again, I say every month this is a balancing act for you. The other problem you have there is the square aspect from your ruler to Uranus in your sun sign. That takes place right at the tail end of the month. And that's an important one too, Aries. That shows your impulse and your drive may cause some mishaps or problems. The first house of the horoscope is one's body. The ruling planet is also, to a large extent, relating to one's body. And Uranus has a very sudden sort of impact. It rules electrical and modern equipment, machinery, as does Mars. So this right angle, especially if you're working with mechanical equipment, cars, vehicles, it's very, very important leading up to the 29th that you take some precaution and slow things down, pull that over enthusiasm back, because some of you are likely to have some sort of problems there, physically speaking. It certainly makes you brilliant intellectually. It gives you some sudden opportunities in your work. We've seen that as well by the new moon, because the new moon, although it is in your zone of relationships, it is the public relations sector, so you are likely to draw a very important type of person into your orb. You have that alluring quality, if I could call it that draws people to you. And that's also because of lucky Jupiter in your 7th house transiting that area during this period. Just quickly, the 7th house, speaking of the 7th house, Venus is moving into the hard aspects of Neptune on the 26th. I'm just having a look here at the timing, and the right angle to the North Node. So these are somewhat confusing elements. And then on the 30th to the conjunction of Saturn. That happens to be taking place in the sign of Sagittarius, the 9th house, which is lucky. But these are all pointing to some of the challenges that you may experience. This is a flow on from what I mentioned in the full moon related to the 4th house of your horoscope, which is your family and domestic affairs. So although you're lucky there and you have opportunities to really move your relationships forward, there are some obstructions there as well. You need to address those to the satisfaction of your partner as well. You know, there's a whole lot more that we can talk about this. We do have the textual reading for you at the site, my website, astrology.com.au. And as I mentioned to you in the introduction this month, destiny engineering, the way forward to finding out the how, the what, the who and the when, which is what astrology is about, but focus primarily on your individual horoscope. Please avail yourself of that. I'm here available to help you if you need that. Till next month, take care. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye now.